Good morning, everyone. Again, welcome to our morning devotional here at NBCFP page, and I'll be sharing to you an article from the book Meditation for Leaders by John Maxwell. The title is "What Kind of Fruit is on Your Tree?" What kind of fruit is on your tree? The psalmist wrote concerning the happiness that a Christian possesses. In Psalm chapter 1, verse 3, we read, "He is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season." Jesus spoke figuratively concerning a tree as representing a person's life when he said, "A tree is recognized by its fruit." Matthew 12:33. Jesus also said in John chapter 15, verse 8, "This is to my Father's glory that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples." Then, knowing that our life has been figuratively illustrated as a tree, we must answer this question: what kind of fruit is on my tree? What kind of fruit is on my tree? Those around us know what type of a person we are because of the fruit we bear in our daily living. Here is a truth that is important to consider. Just as a tree cannot produce fruit that is not of its kind, neither can we. In other words, we can produce in our lives only fruit that is consistent with our character. No person is such a deceiver that he or she can produce consistently what he or she does not believe or embrace. Several years ago, a story told about an illustrations that would show us a point. For 4 decades, East Berlin was controlled by the communists. West Berlin was free. One day, some people who live in East Berlin took a truckload of garbage and dumped it on the West Berlin side. One day, the people of West Berlin could have retaliated by doing the same thing, but instead they took a truckload of canned goods, bread, and milk and neatly stuck it on the East Berlin side. On top of this stack of food, they placed the sign, "Each gives what he has." Each give what he has. What do you have to give? What do you have to give? The answer to that question can be found by looking at the type of fruit you are producing. It is sad to realize that many people have needs that very few can meet. The reason? Most individuals concentrate their efforts on picking fruit instead of producing it. It is easier to be a consumer than a contributor. Others have a fear of giving away so much fruit that they will become barren. The person who lives in fear of sharing too much often finds that the much kept for self is too little to live on. In John chapter 15, Jesus gives the formula for successful fruit bearing. Number 1, a person must be connected to the right source. In John chapter 15, verse 4 and 5, Jesus says, "Remain in me, and I will remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. If a man remains in me and I in him, he will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing." Many people who are frustrated by the lack of fruit in their lives have never had a right relationship with God. Their fruit is artificial and not satisfying. Their independent spirit has shriveled their resources, and until their production is limited to their small, cramped capacity to produce. What a difference it makes to realize that to be connected to God means His power is our power. What is His becomes ours. No longer is it a question of how can I expand my potential, but rather, how can I allow God's power to flow through me? Second, a person must be pruned and disciplined to be fruitful. Jesus said in John chapter 15 verse 2, He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, He prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. Fruit bearing is God's highest desire for your life. He wants you to bear more fruit. He is the source of unlimited blessings that should flow from your life to others. He wants you to be disciplined in order to be the channel for greater fruitfulness. For this to become a reality, you must allow Him to remove every hindrance to fruit bearing in your life. You will be fruitful only as you become disciplined. Pruning is the price for production. Third, a person must realize that God's purpose for His children is fruitfulness. We must realize that His purpose for us is fruitfulness. This is to my Father's glory that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. That is in John chapter 15 verse 8. Once God's purpose is discovered, it's much easier to do His will. The fruit of the Spirit should be your key to effective fruit bearing. Keep your relationship right with God. Keep your life disciplined, and with all your strength, fulfill God's purpose for your life. Your constant contact with the vine will make it possible. These are the formula for successful fruit bearing. Be connected to our Lord. Be pruned and disciplined to be fruitful. Realize God's purpose in our lives. Good morning and God bless.